Hey everyone, and welcome to the Dota 2 Builds of the Week, the weekly series where I show you guys top 5 meta builds to help you get started with new heroes in Dota 2. As always, a link to my Twitch is down in the description below, as is a link to each of the 5 builds we're discussing today. Today we're beginning with Position 1 Wraith King. Wraith King as a hard carry is seeing significant play in high MMR pubs and in the pro meta, simply because he is an exceptional late game carry. However, what you're seeing is a focus on his mid game presence. The build that is seeing the most play right now is his armlet build. Now, I actually did a complete beginner's guide on Wraith King, so if you are interested in learning him from scratch, including how to farm using his skeletons, I'll link it up above in the link and in the description below. However, what I will tell you is his Radiance build has kind of fallen off the meta. I'm including it here because I know there's players that like to experiment with it. I actually love the Radiance build, but it is a little weaker right now compared to the armlet build. The armlet build, what you're doing here is you're going some stats early game, you're taking your phase boots early on, which is great for him because you don't want your Wraith King to get kited. You're taking your magic wand simply because it allows you, in the event that you don't have enough mana for reincarnation, which costs 180, you can burst that mana up with your wand to make sure that you have enough mana for reincarnation. And from there, you're going into armlet, focusing on the Helm of Iron Will first. That's going to solidify your laning stage with the armor and HP regeneration. From there, you're going into Desolator, which Desolator with the armlet is going to allow you to really blow up pretty much everybody. And BKB, which lets you kind of blink onto targets and become, a nuisance. From there, you get your BKB. Did I call this BKB? I don't even know. Anyways, so regardless, from the BKB, you determine what is the best course of action in your game. Are there opponents you need to break, like Spectres or Bristlebacks? Are you getting harassed by significant physical damage? Do you need an Assault Cuirass, right? It all depends on the game situation, and that is part of what makes you a better player. Being able to determine, okay, after the core set build, how do I, extend my items to make sure that I can close out the game? Regardless, Wraith King is an absolutely fantastic hero right now, and one that is seeing a lot of great work in the current meta. Necrophos is seeing a lot of play lately in both mid and in the off lane. Now, this build is specifically focused in on the mid, and what he's doing is he's having a tremendous impact on the game by being a very high tempo hero that is impacting the game at all stages of the game. He has a very consistent power curve, and this build is going to allow you to do exactly that. Essentially, you are doing a standard Death Pulse into Heartstopper Aura with a value point of Ghost Shroud at level 4 to help you with your survivability. You are focusing on Death Pulse first in order to allow you to clear waves and kind of push the enemy tower in. As a mid, what you want to do is you want to clear your wave as fast as possible, create a lot of map pressure, right? Push your wave into the enemy tower, take the small camp, and then, you're able to rotate and whatnot with your Reaper Scythe. Regardless, you're focusing on getting double null talisman, really helps him in every facet of his game early on. Into phase boots. Now, what I should say though, is if you're mid, you can definitely consider going into your boots of travel, which allow you to have a full map presence and push waves very consistently. But you are seeing a mix between phase boots being built and boots of travel as well. You're going to Hood of Defiance as well, which really helps protect you in the event that you have the Ghost Shroud, because that magic absorption is extremely valuable for someone like Necrophos. Into Yule Scepter. Now, Yule Scepter is great because Necrophos is extremely vulnerable if he's silenced, so Yule Scepter will allow you to dispel that silence. Moreover, if you build Radiance and obviously Heartstopper Aura, which is part of your kit, will still actually tick away at enemies while you're in the air. So while you're in the air being cycloned, enemies are still losing HP to Heartstopper Aura. They're also still being affected by Radiance if you've built it. So it is a great item for Necrophos specifically. Into Kaya's Sange, which gives Necrophos everything he needs: the tank ability from the strength, the mana regeneration, the spell amplification. All that stuff is absolutely fantastic for Necrophos, and it's an excellent item on him. From there, you determine what's your need for the game. Very common right now is Shiva's Guard. If you have a right-clicking carry that's going to carry the game, and you just want to have a very dominant presence, right, in team fights, Shiva's Guard's a great option as well. Radiance is popular, but actually still kind of a weak item in the current patch. Heart of Tarrasque makes you a tankable monster. If you need to dispel more stuff, you can do Lotus Orb. But if you're going Lotus Orb, do you really need the Yule Scepter? It's up to you. And ultimately, Scythe of the Vise is also a great item if you have a core on the enemy team that you really need to burst down and control, someone like an anti-mage. But regardless, Necrophos is in a great spot right now, a very interesting selection for both mid and in the offlane. There are few heroes in Dota as naturally tanky as Centaur Warrunner. Centaur is one of those heroes that is extremely straightforward to pilot, but also has a tremendous impact on the game. He's one of those heroes that, as a new player, if you pick him up, you'll start to realize that he has some nuance to how you use his abilities. However, you can also start to see that he has a tremendous impact on the overall game at all stages. Now, this build revolves around Centaur's ability to essentially survive and have a meaningful impact on team fights. The one thing you need to really worry about as a new player is you need to practice your hoof stomp, because hoof stomp has a significant cast point, so you kind of got to get a feel for like that ability being casted and landed, right? So it's something you really want to practice. From there, you are taking a value point in double edge. And from there, you're going to be focusing on Retaliate. Now, the reason why you take Retaliate early is not only does it help you sustain the lane, in particular once you get your Vanguard with Retaliate, you become an absolute nightmare to deal with. But with Retaliate, you're actually able to farm the enemy jungle very, very quickly. Centaur is one of those heroes that can take over the enemy jungle very rapidly and very effectively. Once you have Vanguard with Retaliate, it's extremely hard to kill you. Moreover, you're able to basically clear the entire enemy jungle because they're taking damage when they hit you. The creeps are taking damage when they hit you. You become a massive nuisance. And that is why the build revolves around taking some attributes up front, taking your Vanguard. Now, what you'll notice is a lot of high MMR players will actually skimp on some of the stats here and the starting items and rush your Ring of Health. I don't recommend it if you're relatively new to the hero because you can get super punished in the lane. So you do delay your Vanguard timing slightly by taking more stats up front, but it is kind of beneficial. Into Soul Ring, which is beneficial because you have two Gauntlets of Strength from your starting items. Boots of Speed, Blink Dagger, Hood of Defiance. Now, some builds will have you go the Hood of Defiance before the Blink Dagger. It's up to you depending on the game situation. Obviously, it magnifies your defensive capabilities and your regeneration, so it's up to you. That Blink Dagger is vital to this hero, however. From there, what you're going to be focusing in on is what the game needs. You want to be disruptive to the enemy team. Do they have a PA or a Wraith King or a right-clicking carry on the other team that would be detrimental to have disarmed? Well, then you're going to go Heaven's Halberd, right? Do you want to just be a tanky monster? Then go Heart of Tarask. Do you need to amplify your team's push and damage potential? Go Assault Cuirass. Does the other enemy team have a ton of magic burst damage? You can consider finishing your Hood or your Vanguard into either Pipe of Insight for magical damage or physical damage in the event of Crimson Guard. So ultimately, he has a tremendously versatile kit and one that has a tremendous impact on the game at all stages. Now, this annoying little bug is going to get nerfed in the next patch, so that's coming in a couple weeks. So you're going to want to play this guy while you still can as a position 4. He is absolutely incredible as a position 4 right now, and you're seeing a lot of play at high MMR pubs and in the pro meta. Literally, he's one of the most banned heroes and one of the most played heroes in TI for good reason. Weaver is absolutely incredible, and the build is one that has a tremendous amount of versatility. Taking Coccia early on so that you can be mobile, the Swarm so that you can be a pain, right? Germinate Attack just so you can harass more effectively. Just these 3 value points makes you an incredible laning presence. And then what you do is you go into your Urn so that you can kind of help solidify kills. You're going to be a roaming type support, into a Vessel, which again just amplifies your Urn's capabilities, into Eggs, which essentially is one of the best saves in the game right now. It is basically time lapse for your team, and it's really fantastic, and he is truly providing your team with a ton of capabilities. With that being said, from there, he has a lot of variation that makes him a very valuable support. Do you need a Force Staff? Is this a Yule's Scepter game where you cannot be silenced and you need to make sure, because if he gets silenced, he just dies, right? So do you go Yule's Scepter so that if you get silenced, you can then Coccia away after your Yules? Do you have a right-clicking carry you need to amplify with Solar Crest, right? Taking Roshan becomes extremely easy with something like a Solar Crest. Rod of Ados, do you need to control that anti-mage? If you get some Manta, it's irrelevant regardless, but you know what I mean, right? He has a lot of variability in his item build, which makes him a very versatile position 4. He's gonna get nerfed, so play him while you can. Regardless of your MMR, Shadow Shaman represents a hero that can pretty much win you a game. He can push objectives with his ultimate. He can lock down enemies with his abilities. He represents so much versatility for your team. He has a fantastic Aghanim Shard, and truly he is a hero that is both versatile in position 4 and in 5. He's a hero that you can turn to when you need to win most. And Shadow Shaman is one of those heroes that, quite frankly, will always be relevant in the meta, always has a consistent win rate because he's just so damn versatile. And with Aether Shock into Shackles, you have a commanding laning phase. The value point in Hex is truly fantastic for locking down. And whoa, Valve, what did you do to my guide? Anyways, I gotta fix that. But regardless of that, I should mention too that I actually do have a full beginner's guide for Shadow Shaman. I'll link it up above if you're interested in learning him from scratch. And I'll make sure to fix his ability. I don't know why that happens, Valve. Apparently, when you put apostrophes, it messes up the description. But regardless, you know, Shadow Shaman is truly a great hero, and his item build is straightforward. You're taking the Sentry Ward to block the enemy large camp. From there, okay, Arcane Boots, break them down into an Aether Lens. You're taking the mana booster, putting it into the Aether Lens, and then building Tranquil Boots into an Aghanim Shard. Once you have this Aghanim Shard, your Shackles becomes like basically a death experience for any enemy hero that wanders too close to you. From there, very popular, especially at position 4, is the Blink Dagger. Allows you to blink, shackle, hex, or I should clarify, blink, hex, shackle. And then from there, you know, you have your Glimmer Cape, which is excellent survivability. You have your Force Staff, which again is vital in many games of support. If you're getting gone on by right-clicking carries, your Ghost Scepter is going to help you stay alive. You activate your Ghost Scepter, and what it does is it prevents you from being attacked for that given period of time of 4 seconds. His Ags is, you know, kind of greedy, but hey, it's an amazing ultimate, and if you are suddenly rich in the game, then you can afford it. Why not? And, you know, Aeon Disc, it's good because, you know, he doesn't necessarily need to do damage. Like, if he survives and he's able to just shackle somebody and hold them in place, it's still valuable. So he's one of those heroes where Aeon Disc, the negative part of it doesn't affect him as much as others. So it's also a great item on him as well. Regardless, guys, if you have any questions, let me know in the description down below. I'd be happy to help you. Thank you so much for watching, and a very special thank you to all of our wonderful subscribers. We will see you in the next Dota 2 video.